Evening, folks. It's dark. And we've just been to a service station for a wonderful Leon, which is one of the best kind of service station takeaways, it seems.
It's really good.
Really tasty stuff. And we're heading to Lincolnshire. So we're going to head and try and get the Yellowlegs that we missed last time. And see what else is there too. So keep with us. We should have a great 24 hours birding.
Following a reasonably frustrating drive with roadworks and diversions, we finally got to Lincolnshire just after midnight.
Hi guys, I'm at Frampton Marsh. We've just arrived. It's about 20 past midnight. We hit some traffic and diversions. Luckily there's a nice public loo here at Frampton Marsh, so that's where I am now. I'm going to have a bit of a wash my face and get ready for bed. Because I think it'll be an early morning. See you tomorrow.
Morning folks, we are at Frampton Marsh and we've come to try and finish some unfinished business from the last time we were here, looking for Lesser Yellowlegs, an American visitor. We didn't see it last time. We did see another American visitor, a white rump sandpiper. So we're going out on the reserve now. Potentially there might be yet another American visitor, which is a semi-palmated sandpiper. Someone apparently seen that this morning, so that'll be good. Another lifer. Stick with us.
We walked briskly towards the 360 hide. This is where the semi-palmated sandpiper, I hope I pronounced that right, had been spotted that morning. Whilst en route to the hide, a flock of hooper swan flew overhead. When we arrived at the 360 hide, we chatted to some of the other birders that were there, who confirmed that the semi-palmated sandpiper had disappeared about 10 minutes before we arrived. So it was back to the mission to find the lesser yellowlegs that we missed the previous time. We sat down, set the scope up, settled in and begun to scan through the birds that were in front of us. There were not nearly as many wading birds as last time, so hopefully this would make it easier to pick out a specific bird. Some of the birds that were in front of us included Britain's biggest duck, the shell duck. This was feeding and dabbling in the shallows. Also a welcome group of Brent geese. These small dark geese are winter visitors to the UK, having left their breeding grounds on the Arctic tundra in Siberia. The 360 hide lives up to its name and has got great views over a large expanse of scrape. Some birds at a distance and some close, like these teal, right on the bank near the hide. Looking back out onto where the semi-palmated sandpiper had previously been seen, we spotted a small wader. Unfortunately it wasn't the sandpiper, but a really cool bird nevertheless, a little stint. These robin-sized waders are tiny, running amongst the ring plovers. Further scanning around the area produced more little stint. I think we found about 3 altogether. These birds are visitors on passage between their breeding grounds in Siberia and their wintering grounds in the Mediterranean, Africa and Asia. This time of year being the best time to come across them. These birds being quite similar to the semi-palmated sandpiper that was around earlier, except the little stint have some plumage differences, including 2 white lines which stretch across the shoulders and down the back. Away from the little stint, the most conspicuous birds present being the little egret, which has become increasingly more common in the UK, and a group of avocet that were roosting, occasionally lifting their heads to see what was going on. By this time was wearing on and we hadn't seen either the semi-palmated sandpiper or our intended quarry, the yellowlegs. We decided to leave the hide, spotting en route a kestrel, hovering at a distance, hunting for its next meal. We decided ourselves to look for a meal, so we went back to the visitor centre for a spot of breakfast and some tea. On the path running up to the visitor centre, there was a large plantation of sunflowers. These were attracting lots of small birds like goldfinch and greenfinch. But now it was time for us to warm up and enjoy some food and drink. Nice sandwich.
It's a very nice sandwich. It's a very good sandwich.
Whilst we were finishing our breakfast, we saw a report on bird guides of the lesser yellowlegs, so we hot-footed it back to the 360 hide to where it had been seen. When we got there were a load of other birders there who told us it had been seen at the far side of the water, but it had gone out of sight. So we watched the area intently, waiting for it to come into sight. Whilst waiting, seeing this lovely hooper swan, which is a winter visitor and different from our resident mute swan by having yellow on the beak as opposed to orange. Soon there were lots of excited noises as the lesser yellowlegs finally came into sight. It was at a distance, but we saw it. It was clear. This is the bird we've been looking for. This was excellent. But could we get better views?
Do you know, I've got a long sleeve tee and a jumper and a coat on.
Just full of layers. This good. It's been cold here this morning, but it's heated up a bit. Right, talking about heating up a bit, the birding's heated up a bit as well. We've just had distant views of the bird we were after, which was lesser yellowlegs, which was excellent, a juvenile. We're walking round, hoping it doesn't disappear, to try and get a slightly better view of it. So please stick with us, see if we can get slightly better footage.
We power walked to the east hide in the hope that the yellowlegs hadn't moved, and when we arrived our haste paid off. The yellowlegs was feeding in the shallow water right in front of the hide. This amazing bird is an American visitor, this particular one being a juvenile that must have been blown off course, but it was quite a spectacle, and even more amazing at this close range.
Hope you can hear me because it's windy. That certainly did pay off, that brisk walk around the corner. We got what twitchers call crippling views. The yellowlegs was directly in front of the hide for a while and then walked a little bit away.
You could look, it's really close.
Yeah, it was really close. There was quite a lot of people in the hide, so I had to take photographs from behind a couple of people, but that's fine. And there was a bit of an argument between a few people, but never mind. Tensions were rising, but amazing views, and we're super happy. Lifer. Whee! Don't know what we're going to do next. Probably celebrate. See you shortly.
After all the excitement of the yellowlegs, we headed back to the van for a brief warm-up, seeing on the return journey a couple of cormorant, an extremely confiding grey-lag goose feeding near the visitor centre, and right from the window of the visitor centre, a few widgeon feeding on the grass. After a brief warm-up, we headed back out into the reserve for one last look before we headed off. When we arrived at the hide, there were a few more waders there than earlier in the day, including some black-tailed godwits that were feeding in a group, and a very, very confiding ruff that was feeding on the edges of the water right in front of the hide. But as time wore on, we decided to leave Frampton Marsh, to leave all the birds like the shelducks, the waders, and the crazily confiding little egrets behind, and plan our last little trip of the day. Hey folks, we're just about to leave Frampton Marsh. It's been a pretty good day. We've had the bird we were after, which was the lesser yellowlegs, and we've had
Really good.
awesome, like ridiculously good views of it. We've just been out again into the reserve to try and see what else was about. Wasn't much really.
It's a really nice roll.
It was a really close ruff, really confiding ruff. Some other stuff. Kaylee saw a peregrine before, which we didn't get any footage of, but that's a lifer for Kaylee. Woo! I didn't get any footage of it because it flew in quite quickly, and I thought it was a sparrowhawk initially. Then it flew back out, but we had confirmation from a load of other birdies it was a peregrine, so that's a cool bird for the day. So we've had a great day. Just before we finish the video and go, we're going to nip to a place called Willow Tree Fen, which is about 35 minutes from here, and they sometimes have crane there, common crane, which is a lifer for both of us. So we're going to chance it because it might not happen, but stick with us because it might. About 35 minutes away from Frampton Marsh, we arrived at Willow Tree Fen, where in previous years they've had success with common cranes breeding there. Although these birds generally disperse away from the breeding grounds in the winter, some birds come back to roost in the evenings, and some had been seen on previous days here. We decided to stick around until dusk, and were joined at one point by a wildlife trust warden who was reasonably confident about us seeing the cranes. Hey folks, we're at Willow Tree Fen. Katie's in the back of the van cooking dinner. We're looking over a bit of an area of, I suppose, like farmland, but with like some marshy areas. Lots of cows. We've seen a couple of birds that could be cranes. We're hoping so. Apparently they come here to roost sometimes, so we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're going to cook some dinner, eat some dinner, and wait for it to go a bit darker in the hope that some cranes will come in. That'll be an ace way to end this video. Keep with us.
As we waited for the cranes, we looked at some of the other birds present, like this kestrel, a beautiful silhouette against the setting sun. At one point, coming in to try and catch its food right in front of us. Unfortunately, it didn't leave with any. As it got darker and darker, there were no signs of the crane, only ever increasing numbers of marsh harrier coming in to hunt and roost. Unfortunately, it was now too dark, it started raining and it was really cold, so all of us, including the warden, called it a night. Hey folks. Oh, light's gone off. Let's put the light on.
You might want that.
Yeah.
And you might want that.
That makes things a little lighter. Hey folks, we've been at Willow Tree Fen looking for cranes. Unfortunately we didn't see them. We spoke to a gentleman there who's a Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust warden who was pretty confident, but it got really dark and it started to rain and very, very cold. So we all called it. We're going to revisit that in the future. So today has been pretty cool. A couple of other things we saw at Willow Tree Fen were another peregrine. That's 2 in a day. Yeah, peregrine's been a lifer for Katie, so that's brilliant. Marsh harriers and a very confiding kestrel. It was coming back into
some beautiful hairs.
And some lovely hairs.
Yeah, they got brown hair there.
They got brown hair, yeah. I didn't get any footage of them, unfortunately. Or the peregrine again. Shame. So that was an epic day, especially with the lesser yellowlegs getting such amazing views, and that's the bird we were after. So thank you very much for watching.
Please like,
please subscribe, and hit the notification bell. See you soon.